Back in the fall of 2024, I created a video where I stripped John Marston of all of his gear and then locked him in the town of Valentine. A video that has since gone on to be one of my most viewed videos I've ever created. But during that playthrough, I encountered the random event where a man is fighting with a woman that ultimately ends up with him drowning her if you don't intervene. In that video, I merely knocked the man out and took his gun before continuing on with my playthrough. Now, the way my mind works is that if I'm watching a video and notice something the creator could have done differently that is not an absolutely obscure mechanic, before leaving a comment about it, I'll scan the existing comments first. Then, almost always I'll find that I've been beaten to bringing it up, so I go, okay, they know, and move on with my life. But what I've learned from this video is that a lot of you do not behave in the same way. Now, since I have to read a new comment every other week about how I could have turned that man in for a few dollars, I feel I need to bring it up and talk about the stupid rabbit hole that these comments and that man has sent me down, and how I came to learn that everyone who left this comment was wrong. Now I want to make it crystal clear that from the get-go, I was aware that turning him in for money was an option before I even started this challenge. And yes, it was initially part of my plan to turn him in for the money should the encounter spawn during the challenge. But Red Dead being Red Dead, it had other plans for me on this one. So the playthrough actually featured in that video was my third or fourth attempt at the idea. The first attempt had more gameplay altering mods than what I used in the final cut. Mainly the companion to the humidity and temperature mod that adds in things like thirst and having to take a piss. But I wasn't having fun with the way that mod changed the gameplay loop and abandoned that playthrough along with that mod. And then during the next few false starts, Red Dead itself got really pissy and unstable. The game kept crashing frequently and it was really making everything about the runs not fun, so I abandoned a few more attempts until I could get the game stability figured out. But the thing is that during some of those false starts, I did encounter the man trying to drown the woman. I did knock him out and I did take him to the sheriff. And do you know what happened? Absolutely nothing! The sheriff didn't give a damn and I received no cash award. Okay, this wasn't what I was expecting to happen, but it is what it is. So when I encountered the man during the playthrough that I used in the video, I just took his gun and didn't bother even trying to turn him in. And so here we are. I wish I had the original video of this happening to show you all, but alas, in the name of data storage capacity, I routinely purge the footage that doesn't get used in the final edits of videos sometime after the video goes live. So all those early incomplete attempts are long gone. So time went on and the comments telling me what I could have done continued to flow in. None of them were mean in tone or anything, and as they kept coming in, I just found it more amusing than anything else. But maybe over time, little by little, they started to chip away at my sanity. I did try to turn him in and it didn't work, right? I don't have the footage anymore to go check. I know what I experienced. What if all those comments are right and I'm hallucinating about what happened with my John? Ugh! Have you ever had that experience where you have a memory of something really weird from when you were a child, and as the years go by and you get further and further removed from that weird memory, you start to doubt if it was even real? It was just too odd. It had to have been just a dream you had that is now being confused with a real memory. And then one day, years later, just out of the blue, a sibling mentions experiencing the same thing that corroborates your story, and that ease of sanity relief flushes through your body. Well, that is the rush that hit me at the end of September 2025 when I opened up Reddit one day and was greeted by this post where someone else was having issues turning in that man while playing as John Marston. I don't know, there was something cathartic about seeing someone else experiencing the same issue. But in the year between that moment and the posting of the video, I've learned quite a bit about the Red Dead mechanics. And having spent a buttload of time horsing around in the epilogue, probably more than I assume most players have, one thing I've learned is that the mechanics that you experience in the main story don't always behave the same way in the epilogue. For example, every time I've brought enemies into the camp as Arthur, the game just goes into a cloud transition and resets without the enemies being present. but do the same at Beecher's Hope in the epilogue, and sometimes you get that cloud transition. But other times, John just drops dead. Well, maybe if this video does good, I'll start a series on deep diving some of the most common comments I get, because boy howdy, I've sure gotten a lot on that subject in the video where that took place. No, but back to the matter on hand. Seeing that Reddit post made me wonder if perhaps this was another case of works one way for Arthur, but it's up for John. So I set out to test it, for it would be a fun fact to drop as a reply to all these comments as they come in, if it's true. But before I brought John back to Valentine to test, I booted in with Arthur just to experience the money being awarded firsthand.
I got an idea. Wanna hear it? Huh?
Thank you.
Damn it. I'm getting along. Wanna hear it? Huh? I ain't afraid to get... The lawman won't take kindly to that.
Stop, goddammit!
Well,
No.
With your goddamn... I ain't afraid to get blood on my hands. This ain't good.
well, what the fuck?
That all? Damn it! All right, I'm through. I'm taking your stinking hide to a cold cell.
How am I supposed to test if this interaction is bugged for John if I can't even establish a good control sample with Arthur? Huh? Frustrated, I went to YouTube and looked for a video of this interaction and pulled up Ashwin Y's 2022 video showing Arthur getting cash for the man. Clear as day. But in the comments of that video, well, hello my friends who keep getting busted for kidnapping. They were all over, including one very recent commenter claiming that it was just a bug. But at this point, I just stopped pulling on this thread and went back to working on my mainline videos. But as those mainline videos tend to grow longer and longer and the production times even longer, I kept trying to think of video topics that I could theoretically complete in a weekend without being beholden to a playthrough that might add an additional 10, 20, 90 hours. And trying to figure out if John turning that man into the sheriff was actually bugged kept crossing my mind as one of those ideas. So here we are, 8 months after I last stopped sticking my arm down this rabbit hole, when it popped into my mind again. And this time I went back and looked at that Reddit post once again. Interesting. That now 9-month-old post has a 5-month-old comment on it. Something which really only happens on Reddit if someone with the same interest in the topic is finding it via a search. Whatever might it say? Well, shit. Looking back at my Arthur testing that I did 8 months ago, I did just ride up and took the man without any evidence of his crimes, which in hindsight is kind of a Minority Report-esque psychopath behavior. Well, time to make that control test again.
Wanna hear it? Huh? Oh, bitch! I ain't afraid to get blood on my hands.
Got a real son of a bitch, Sheriff. Tried to drown his wife at one of the water troughs.
Oh, there we go. If we wait for the woman to hit the water before hog-tying the man, Arthur gets the payday. Now to go back to the future and try it with John.
Wanna hear it? Huh? Go, bitch! I ain't afraid to get blood on my hands. What the hell?
Well, would you look at that? Nothing is happening. Huzzah! I knew I wasn't crazy. Let's do it again.
Go, bitch!
Well, look what you got on the end of your hook. Bravo!
Interesting how on this attempt, though, that the sheriff says part of the dialogue from the payout sequence. But again, Nothing happens. I can't even throw him in the cell or anything. Ah, what the hell. One more time for the fun of it.
Go fish!
Nope. Still no payday. Well, isn't that interesting? It does appear that this little side quest in the epilogue is indeed bugged and John can't get the payday. So there we go, case closed, right? Well, no. After reviewing the original challenge footage, John knocked the man out and was able to take his gun after he dunked the woman. This was different than the hog tying I'd been testing, so I was curious if that scenario would have changed anything. So I replicated it. Whoa! Close enough. He's still alive.
What we got here? I've been saying for years you don't send a saint to catch sinners. You want to catch a sinner for us? Look on the wall there.
John walked him to the sheriff's office where the expected nothing happened. Still curious, I thought I would see if Arthur could pull off the feat of knocking him out post-dunk, taking the gun, and collecting the bounty. KO? Check. Gun? Check. Cash? Not check. So it does seem that hog tying the man is the important part of collecting the money here, but whatever. I had proven I wasn't dreaming things, and trying to turn in that man for money is indeed bugged for John Marston. Case closed, right? Right? No. This one isn't done chewing me up yet. Oh boy. So as I was shutting down my research, that YouTube video was still open in my browser. And this is when I noticed a different comment. It seems you've got to do at least one mission as headhunter for the sheriff. You know what this comment did? You know what this fucking comment did? Well, the save file I've been using to test this with Arthur 8 months ago was from the Breakthrough. And at that point, I hadn't done any bounty missions yet. But 3 months ago, I finally did a Valentine bounty on that playthrough, and the testing I was doing now was on the save where I had completed a Valentine bounty. So this comment sent me in a spiral of testing this bounty state. So I loaded up an old save from last year and found the two once again.
Go fish! Come on, then! I ain't afraid to get blood on my hands.
Well, shit. So I went and reloaded and found the encounter 10 more times. 5 on a pre-bounty save and 5 with a post-bounty save. And wow, it sure does seem like that comment was on to something. Because every attempt without the bounty failed. And every attempt that I had done the bounty, I succeeded and got that bag.
Well, look what you got on the end of your hook. Bravo!
So perhaps the dunkening isn't the trigger here. It seems you just need to be in good with the sheriff. So I gave it one more try on the post-bounty save with Arthur, but this time I didn't wait for the dunk.
No.
With your gun!
Look what we got here.
I ain't afraid to...
Thank you.
Got a real son of a bitch, Sheriff.
Well, now you shouldn't have.
Well, shit! Again! All the tests I've been doing for this have been with my Virgin Epilogue save, where I play the game doing no side content or allowing any random NPC interactions to happen to keep everything available for John to do. Thus, it was in a state where he hadn't done a Valentine bounty. And we know this state causes the encounter to glitch out, but what if this John had a bounty under his belt? Would it work then? Only one way to find out.
That there's a bounty hunter. Get him!
Jesus Christ.
Shoot him!
Now stay there!
No?
Relax!
You order a lady killer here, Sheriff?
There. So now that this John was buddies with the sheriff, I waited for night and went looking for the dunk tank.
This ain't you!
ain't afraid to get blood on my hands. What? What the hell?
Thank you. That crazy bastard, he can rot in hell.
Got a real son of a bitch, Sheriff. He tried to drown his wife in one of the water troughs.
Well, look what you got on the end of your hook. Bravo!
Well, shit. Again. So it is possible to turn that man in for money as John Marston, so long as a Valentine bounty was completed. The true bug seems to be that John just doesn't get the wanted levels for beating down that man before being flagged as a bounty hunter like Arthur does. So all this begs yet another question. As we saw, pre-bounty John can knock that man out and take him to the sheriff's office when post-bounty Arthur couldn't. And if post-bounty John can actually claim the money from the sheriff, then can post-bounty John potentially knock that fucker out, take his gun, and get the bounty? Well, I did that whole complete bounty test on an autosave, so I no longer had a nice save point after completing the bounty to return to with the drowning scenario still available. So instead of running that bounty again, I just went into my save vault and found the save I used for Cowboy Golf. This was my epilogue save that all my videos up through the Valentine video are played off of. It had the bounty achievement completed, so we're good to go.
You wanna keep this up? You
No,
think
no,
you're
no.
clever,
No,
huh?
no.
With your goddamn games! Go fish!
Go home, ma'am. Get some rest.
Oh, God. You're just like him.
Oh my God, no!
I tried a few more times to the same result. So no, it doesn't seem that I could have double dipped getting the cattleman and the roughly $6 cash prize. But this left me with one more conundrum that makes me mad I deleted that early footage. This was the save file I did that challenge on. I had previously completed the Valentine bounty to trigger the payout, yet I didn't get one when turning him in. So that means I didn't hogtie the man to bring him in. And I don't think that I triggered a crime, but human memory is fickle, and again, I deleted that footage. But what if my memory is correct? What in the hell happened back in the fall of 2024 where I tried to turn that man in for a bounty and nothing happened and I didn't get a crime on my ass? Whoa. So I threw myself at it some more, and one thing I haven't done during all these tests so far was to start the interaction by using the intervene option. And while looking for a way to possibly get the gun and the cash, I did try using this option. It started a fist fight. He drew his gun and I disarmed him. I punched him out like the little bitch he was, and was able to take his cattleman. But this time when I picked up the body to run it to the sheriff,
Even a lawman can get shocked.
nothing happened! Just like I remembered! Huzzah! Oh, mystery solved! Mystery fucking solved! Oh, okay, so what have we learned here? 1. In order to turn this man in, you need to be known as a bounty hunter by the Valentine sheriff. After I did all these tests, I loaded up my Virgin John save one more time and just accepted the first bounty, but I didn't complete it. And from this state, I was able to turn the man in for the cash prize. So I didn't even need to finish that bounty. Just touching the poster seems to be enough. And 2. In order to get the money, you must bring the man in while he is still squirming. And hogtying him appears to be the only way. I tried KOing him with post-bounty Arthur, and that failed. And the hogtie versus KO results stayed the same when I did both after using the intervene action. I fell into this rabbit hole just hoping to prove that there was a glitch preventing John from claiming that money. But what I actually learned is that in absolutely no way would it have been possible for me to have claimed that bounty on that challenge. Sure, I was in a save state where I had the Valentine bounty requirement met, but I had also used mods to remove John's lasso for that challenge. And given that the guy needs to be tied up and conscious to get the money, it would have been literally impossible for me to do so. So all of you who have left that comment telling me to turn him in for money, suck it. I kid. This is such a weird sailor's knot of mechanics that there is no way you would have known that unless you too sat down and spent an entire Saturday rerunning that encounter to untangle it. Oh. All this time, I too assumed that I could have gotten the gun and the money if the game wouldn't have glitched on poor old John, so this result actually caught me by surprise as well. But also, one more thing. Usually picking up the worn weapons doesn't do much for you, but in this scenario I'd also stripped John of his handguns. Not something that can happen in unmodded gameplay. And what I've noticed over time doing these from nothing challenges is that when you have no handgun and pick up a worn copy of one, the game just converts it into the pristine version to meet the expectation of you always having at least one gun. So, even if I could turn him in, forgoing the $6 payout to acquire a $50 revolver was definitely a better deal. Oh, well that, once again, sucked up way more time than I usually do. But hey, I've got many other little topics like this from comments that come in over and over and over, so like I said earlier, if this does well and you want to see more like this, leave a comment, let me know, and I'll burn up some more Saturdays playing one mission till the end of time until I cry. Okay, bye.